gets more than ever before. Right from the top, there's a wealth of most unlikely success stories. But the unforgiving glare of the spotlight sometimes turns traditional heroes into forlorn figures. It's a year fraught with controversy on the court and confrontation off it. There's no counting anyone out. Tales of the unexpected abound. The exultant winners, the despondent losers, the indomitable competitors, they're all part of Sports 81, the George Plimpton Scrapbook, with your host, George Plimpton. Sports 81, the George Plimpton Scrapbook, is brought to you by Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Intellivision, endless entertainment from Mattel Electronics. And by the genius of Betamax, and naturally it's from Sony, the one and only.
George Plimpton, and these images behind me are pages from my 1981 sports scrapbook. It used to be that sports scrapbooks are made up of things like newspaper clippings, ticket stubs, and photographs. But modern-day collections come in the form of video. I've edited my scrapbook very judiciously down to 90 minutes, and it's simply bulging with indelible images. Those memorable confrontations, Leonard, Hearns, Borg, McEnroe, Coe, Avett, and Billy Martin and his umpires. And then the prodigious feats of new heroes like the great Gretzky and El Toro. So on to page 1, day 1, and the battle for numero uno.
In the spirit of the new year, college football's premier teams vow to make a run for number 1 on their annual day of reckoning. The Cotton Bowl features a 9-2 Alabama team which simply overmatches the Baylor Bears. And the Crimson Tide's Major Ogilvy becomes the first player ever to rush for a touchdown in 4 straight bowl games. The Pigskin Parade continues in Pasadena as the Michigan Wolverines try to snap the Big Ten streak of 6 straight losses in the Rose Bowl. Against the Washington Huskies, Michigan breaks from the Big Ten tradition by unveiling the John Wangler to Anthony Carter aerial show, a much better entertainment value than the 3 yards and a cloud of dust routine. With an outside shot at a national title, Michigan then turns to its stingy defense to protect it. And the Huskies are held to just 2 field goals, the 6th straight game in which Michigan has kept its opponents from scoring a touchdown. Finally, after 7 straight postseason losses, the Wolverines give head coach Bo Schembechler his first bowl game success. New Year's night in Miami spotlights an Orange Bowl rematch, and Michael Keeling's record 53-yard field goal for Oklahoma shatters a Florida State shutout. The Sooners figure better late than never, and David Overstreet's wishbone ramble as the Big 8 champs on top. But 4th-ranked Oklahoma gives the ball up 5 times on 7 fumbles, and the 2nd-ranked Seminoles help themselves to a 7-point 4th-quarter lead. The Sooners' J.C. Watts has saved his secret weapon, the pass, for last. Oklahoma trails by just 1 now, and they're going for 2. This dramatic come-from-behind victory gives Oklahoma its 9th Orange Bowl win in 12 tries. But the sweetest part of all is in the Sugar Bowl, where the top-ranked and undefeated Georgia Bulldogs bear down on a national title against Notre Dame. Freshman folk hero Herschel Walker takes the early plunge, and the Bulldogs' swarming, opportunistic defense continually takes the bite out of a stymied Irish attack. Despite being outgained by more than 200 yards, Georgia stays on the minds of voters for the top spot as Walker rushes for 2 touchdowns and 150 yards, a better net gain than that of his entire team's slumbering offense. But Notre Dame earlier knocked Alabama out of the running for number 1, and now they're playing the spoiler role again. A 1-yard jaunt by Phil Carter brings the Irish to within 7 points, and Notre Dame is threatening divine intervention in the Bulldogs' best-laid plan. But with time running out, Georgia blunts one last challenge, and now with Georgia's number 1 son, Jimmy Carter, in attendance, the Bulldogs wrap up their first-ever number 1 ranking.
President Carter was about to be replaced as the country's number 1 citizen by a former actor whose most notable performance came in Knute Rockne, All-American. In the same week as Ronald Reagan's inauguration, one of the top pitchers of the past 2 decades was voted into baseball's Hall of Fame.
In his first year of eligibility, the Cardinals' Bob Gibson is welcomed into Cooperstown. Gibson's marvelous career featured 7 World Series wins and 1 17-strikeout masterpiece in the '68 series. With 251 wins and more than 3,000 strikeouts, Gibson was the pride of St. Louis. Later in '81, another former Cardinal, Johnny Big Cat Mize, is elected to the Hall by the Veterans Committee. After a stint with the Giants, Mize played for the Yankee teams that won 5 straight World Series. Elected with Rube Foster, the organizer of Black League Baseball, Mize was a career .312 hitter with power, the only player ever to hit 3 home runs in a game 6 times. The good old days are what many National Hockey League fans are pining for. The expansion age of more teams and more games seems a bit too fast and furious, a touch out of control. But for a brief moment on January 24th, the Islanders' Mike Bossy takes the hockey buffs back to the halcyon era. Scoring his 50th goal in the 50th game of the season, Bossy equals Rocket Richard's ancient record. Swimming records rarely reach such landmark status, for it seems there's always a new kid in the pool just an arm's length faster. 17-year-old Tracy Calkin sets 4 world records in 1 meet, further proving this fragility while establishing her own preeminence. Once the preeminent goal scorer in hockey, Phil Esposito finds the encroachment of age robbing his incomparable scoring skills. So at age 38, the second leading scorer in NHL history bids farewell.
Espo was clearly slowing down when he retired, but it must have been a murderous decision for him. Aging athletes, especially the truly great ones, often harbor that dream that somehow they'll be able to regain the glory one more time. This persistence can be humbling, but sometimes it pays off, as in the case of Jim Plunkett of the Oakland Raiders.
The 33-year-old quarterback is the leader of a miraculous Oakland Raider revival.
This whole year, from day one, we were marked as being last place, and all of a sudden we're at the top of the heap. Because regardless if we were favored in the point spread, we were still underdogs from day one.
The Oakland Raiders, picked to finish last in their division, are riding the remarkable comeback of Jim Plunkett right into the Super Bowl. Plunkett, once the cast-off and considered washed up, sweeps the Raiders past the Oilers, Browns, and Chargers, and the Jim Plunkett saga heads to Bourbon Street. The Dallas Cowboys, so-called America's team, would settle for being the NFC's team in the Super Bowl. But Philadelphia's upstart Eagles have the most effective defense in football, and they rudely cancel the Cowboys' travel plans. A decisive 20-7 Eagles win is salted away by Leroy Harris. And for the first time in 21 years, the Birds are flying to an NFL championship game. 2 weeks pass before the quest of Oakland and Philly can reach fruition, as the 2 teams are held hostage by the pregame hoopla. Super Bowl 15 is the Eagles' first, and on the 3rd play of the game, Ron Jaworski exhibits some super-sized jitters. Rod Martin's interception sets an early tone of Raider cool and Eagle desperation. Jim Plunkett, now exuding confidence, methodically picks apart the vaunted Bird defense, and Cliff Branch's 2-yard touchdown puts Oakland on top. It's a day when apparent glory turns to gloom for the men in green. A spectacular bit of improv by Jaworski looks like 6, but it goes for naught thanks to a penalty. Even the proud Eagle D is being shut out as Plunkett gets time to conduct his magic act. Now you see him, now you don't. It's a Super Bowl record 80-yard touchdown from Plunkett to Kenny King, and these rowdy freewheeling Raiders are making a rout of it. Leading 14-3 in the third quarter, Plunkett follows the fairy tale script, sending up a pass and a prayer. Cliff Branch answers the call, and Plunkett's wildest dreams are coming true. The Eagles trail by 3 touchdowns, and no late-game heroics can alter the outcome now. Overall, Philly gets more first downs and runs more offensive plays than Oakland, and the Eagles are outgained by only 17 yards. But the Birds just couldn't come up with the big play, whether it was mistakes or whistles that blew them dead. A fourth-quarter touchdown pass from Jaworski to Keith Krepfle is merely academic, and the final score is 27-10. The Raiders become the first wild card entry to take the top prize, and a third interception sets a Super Bowl record for Rod Martin, another Raider reclamation project. Raiders coach Tom Flores has brought Oakland its second Super Bowl crown, and the man whose courageous comeback paved the way, Jim Plunkett, once thought over the hill, is elected Super Bowl 15's most valuable player. George?
Well, I might as well tell you about a personal election I'm staging in this 90 minutes. The electorate, well, it's me, since it's my scrapbook. I'm going to pick the top performer of each month. And then after conferring with all the voters, I'm going to pick the top performer of the year. And if you don't like that pick, well, stay with me. You'll have 12 more chances to disagree. So to kick it off, I'm electing Jim Plunkett as January's top performer.
We'll be back with more of Sports 81, the George Plimpton scrapbook, in a moment.
Who is this man breaking away from the pack? Well, he won 5 speed skating gold medals in the 1980 Olympics. And in February 1981, he won the Sullivan Award as the nation's outstanding athlete. He's Eric Heiden, and now he never leaves home without his bicycle. Ironically, in the same month that Heiden won the Sullivan Award, Jim Craig, the goalie of the 1980 Olympic hockey team, was benched by the Boston Bruins. Of course, when a fellow like Wayne Gretzky is bearing down on you, all the gold medals in the world won't help you.
20-year-old Wayne Gretzky is already being compared to all-time greats like Orr and Beliveau. On his way to a second straight MVP award and a record 164 points, the great Gretzky becomes hockey's top drawing card. Meanwhile, boxing's biggest card is called off when promoter Harold Smith flees from a swirl of criminal charges. Then the little big man of the NBA chases after one of the big boys' records. The Rockets' Calvin Murphy lights up free throw after free throw in February, staying hot in pursuit of Rick Barry's mark of 60 in a row. The race for stock car supremacy is being run at speeds approaching 200 miles an hour as Bobby Allison stalks Richard Petty in the 23rd running of the Daytona 500. For the 7th time, Petty wins prestigious Daytona, proving he's still the king of the speedways. Back in the arenas, the war of the backboards is being waged by the best amateur teams in the land. Unlike that other sport, the polls don't mean a hoot in college hoops, and these top-billed quintets will have to take on all comers in the upcoming NCAA tourney. Okay, now, quiet down for Calvin. Murphy not only ups the record to 78 straight, but sets a new season mark of 96%. And another milestone is notched by Julius Erving, who scores his 20,000th point as the Sixers approach the playoffs on top.
In the shortest month, one might think of giving the vote to the tallest performers. But I'm giving my vote for February's Performer of the Month to one of the swiftest set, Wayne Gretzky, the greatest show on ice.
Hockey fights its way into the headlines through the winter, and the next month features an inexorable march toward a National Hockey League record by crafty right-winger Guy Lafleur of the Montreal Canadiens. In his 10 pro seasons, Lafleur has been a first-team All-Star 6 times and won 3 scoring titles. Now against Winnipeg on March 4th, the 29-year-old Lafleur scores his 1,000th point in only his 720th game, the quickest ever in the NHL. Another star flowering on a hockey rink is Steve Jungle, but his game is indoor soccer. Jungle's the top celebrity and leading scorer of the major indoor soccer league, and his magnetic touch leads the New York Arrows to their 3rd straight championship. The 26-year-old Yugoslav Jungle is being called the Pele, even the Nureyev of indoor soccer, and the sport seems to be on the rise. Phil Mayer is America's top hope in another sport which usually finds us as